All right, guys, we're kind of taking a step backwards, maybe you would say. I know we got all the way up to what 3.6 or 3.7, but I didn't want to throw this section in the middle of why we had some momentum, so I wanted to go back and get this later. And actually, I've done that for the past couple of years, but just wanted to explain to you why we're going back to 3.3. But this is going to be the last section of this chapter, so after this, we'll review and do our test and move on to bigger and greater things. But I just wanted to go ahead and give you a little short video here of doing this. I know you guys could probably do this on your own and probably better than I'm going to do, but at least I wanted to give you a video and show you what the expectations are. So this is 3.3 graphing systems of inequalities. So basically you can see here that you have two inequalities that you're working with. And so we're going to graph these exactly like you do graphing regular equations. We'll talk about this here in just a second, okay? So let's look at this first equation that we have. Y is greater than or equal to 2/3 x plus 1. So I'm going to go ahead, over here's all your tools, remember. I'm going to go ahead and grab a circle tool, and I'm going to make this first one, let's make it blue, it'll be fine. So again, this is the first one we're going to graph. Y is greater than or equal to 2/3 x plus 1. We always start at our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is out here. It's a positive 1. So I'm going to go to positive 1. I'm going to go ahead and just put a circle right there. Okay? And you can make that any size you want to. It doesn't really matter. It's just our starting point for our graph. And then you notice our slope here is 2/3. Remember, that's rise over run. So that means I'm going to go up 2 units, and then I'm going to go over 3 units, and here would be my other circle. I want to also note out that you could also start here, and you could go down 2 units and to the left 3 units, and go ahead and put you another one as well, okay? A lot of people don't like to go that way because it kind of seems counterintuitive, but again, look, we're still making a positive line, okay? Here's the point we really need to look at is you notice here, and this is where you really have to start thinking about this as an inequality. You notice it says greater than or equal to, okay? So when you see the line underneath it, that's the best way to try to explain this, I think, is if you have either greater than, whoops, I still got the circle tool. I need to get rid of that. Look at that. It's that easy. I can get rid of that. Let me go up here to this tool real quick. We'll make it kind of lighter. If you've got greater than or equal to, or you have less than or equal to, then you need to remember that that is a solid line, okay? That is a solid line. If you have just greater than or less than, remember that is a dotted line because you're not really including those parts in your solution, okay? So just a side note there that this is really important to pay attention to this, okay? So we've already got our points that are a part of this first line. I'm going to go ahead and just grab the line tool and that same color blue, and I'm going to do my very best to try to make this line work out. That's about the best I can do right there. Okay, now let's think about our shading. If you notice here, it says that it needs to be shaded above the line. Remember when it's greater than or equal to, and I think we covered this in a previous chapter, but if it's greater than or equal to, then we know that it's going to be shaded above the line. So at this point, you can just get one of your drawing tools, and again, we can make this thickness as much as we want to. And I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to kind of shade this above the line. Now, this don't have to be perfect. Look, I mean, it's kind of awful, especially with me, right? But this is, I guess, is the fun part. You get to kind of color it in a little bit. So I'm going to just shade it in here the best I can. That little thing's probably making you dizzy by now looking at it going around, right? Okay, so that is basically, it means every one of these points up here in this area could be a possible solution for this, okay? Now we're not done because we need to do the second equation. So let's go back to our shapes tool. We'll go ahead and get the circle tool, and this time we'll choose yellow. And I'm going to go down again. I'm looking at my y-intercept is -3. I'm going to go down here to -3 and go ahead and put a point. Now you notice my slope here is -2/3 x. So -2/3 means I want to go down 2 and over 3. So there's one of my points. But remember, I could also go the other way. So I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 3. And that means one of my other points is right here where my other one was, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and get the line tool again, make sure I'm on yellow, and let's go ahead and strike us a line here. Now let's think about what this is saying. This is saying y is less than or equal to. So we're right to make this a solid line, but we know now that we need to shade this below the line, okay? So again, I'm going to grab my paintbrush, for lack of a better term, come down here. Well, that was actually pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and shade that. Now the question is, where are my solutions at? Okay, and on your test, actually, what it's going to give you as far as multiple choices, it's only going to give you the actual part that's the answers. Okay, my answers is not all of this, and my answers is not all of this. Okay, think about it. This is a system, so we're looking at two equations, and we're saying, okay, where does it meet both conditions? Well, if you notice, I've got this area here that's kind of multicolored. It almost looks green, right? Blue and yellow makes green. So you notice that one of the points that is over here is -4, -1. I just wonder if that would be a potential solution. So -4, -1. Well, if I put a -1 here and I put a -4 in here, if I put a -4 in here, I'm going to get -8 over 3 plus 1, which is 2 2/3, -2 2/3 plus 1, which would be -1 1/3. I know that's a lot of math thrown at you at one time, but -1 would be greater than -1 1/3. So that means that this right here is my potential solution. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a graph that shows me both colors. And just to be honest with you, I'm just going to pull up my key and see if I've got two colors mixed together in the right spot. Okay, so you're going to do this through this entire sheet. Now let me show you what else is here. Again, a lot of these are very easy. They're already in slope-intercept form. Okay, notice that 3 and 4 in slope-intercept form, 5 and 6 are in slope-intercept form as well. I did put a couple on here, actually 4, I guess, that are not. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to rearrange these terms like you have done before, and you're going to have to be able to graph them based on those rearranged terms. Okay, so you've only got about 4 of those. There's only 10 questions here altogether. So make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing there. Make sure you graph everything. Some of you skipped these last time. Shame on you for doing that. All right. So make sure you do all 10 of these. I've already did one of them for you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to save this just the way it is right here. That way you guys have it. When you pull up your form, it should look exactly like this. Number one's already done for you. So you kind of got an idea of what we need you to do. Obviously, if you need any help, reach out to us. And me or Miss Willer, either one would be glad to help you with this little project. Thanks.